Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Paws podcast. I am your host, Spooner Sloth, and this is our other host, HB Fox. Fox, how are you doing, man? How was your vacation?
I'm doing all right. I don't know what this vacation is you're speaking of.
I
I've never
can't
had one of
say
those before.
I can't say Thanksgiving. I can't how was your
Yeah.
Thanksgiving?
How's my Thursday? I think it was a Thursday.
Yeah. How was your
Uh,
your your non-denominational Canadian Thursday?
it was a Thursday. So work without overtime, I guess, or without
Oh,
time and a half.
it's
It's Thursday.
one day someone is going to poach you. Someone's going to headhunt you right out from underneath Hunter's nose, and that's going to be.
People have tried.
Yeah, people have
Like
tried,
straight
I
up, people
imagine.
have tried,
It's like
and it just hasn't worked out.
this is one of the reasons why I kind of sort of wish I win the lottery, just so I can put you in that awkward position.
You know, even if you did, like if you offered me a ridiculous amount of money to
Mm.
work for you or whatever it happens to be, I'd say yes, but I'd probably still work for Hunter at the same time.
I gotta win the lottery and like find a way to monopolize your time.
I mean,
That's
not
what I gotta
not
do.
to
Yeah.
not to get mushy about it, but I literally would not be in the position I'm in today if it wasn't for Hunter.
Oh, I know it, man. You guys
I
have a something special. I feel you.
I had zero management experience in this industry when he basically said, "You want to be my manager?" So if he hadn't approached me with that, I'd probably still be some random ass viewer on Twitch that never actually says anything in chat.
So you'd be me.
Yeah, I mean
Oh,
that's what I was when I started up on Twitch. I never said anything in anybody's chats, and honestly, I still kind of never really say anything in anyone's chats.
I do on occasion, and then like the hunger kicks in, and I have to lurk to go get food, and I almost just don't come. I just don't come back. Like I'm done lurking, and I'm done. Like I'll just have the window open,
Yeah.
and I'll
My
listen.
my deal is I always have to be doing like two or three things at once. That's just how I am. I can't sit still. I used to actually get in trouble all the time in elementary school for not sitting still. But because of that, I can't really, dedicate all that much time to chatting because, I'm doing video editing or I'm drawing or I'm making something.
Right,
My
right.
hands are busy all the time.
That's a whole nother. That's a different like podcast show in of itself. As I'm starting to explore a little bit more of my own neurosis and my own funk. Um, it's just real interesting the whole like having to feel like you need to be doing something. It's not
Yeah.
even like you're consciously like, oh man, I'm not being productive. It's just you. It's a compulsory desire
Hmm.
to engage. Like I can't just sit down and watch Netflix. I have to play a game
Yeah.
because watching TV is too passive for me and
Hmm.
my freaking neurotic bullcrap. I need to be engaged doing a thing.
So,
Anyway,
speaking of neurosis and funk, how was your Thanksgiving?
it was surprisingly, it was good. It was good. This was the first year that we absconded from family. We were just like
Good.
not. It was just the five of us. It was just myself, my wife, our three daughters, and the dog. So 5.3 of us, and it was nice. It was. We ate at like 4 in the afternoon. I think maybe 3 in the afternoon, and the food was
That,
hot when we got it.
that's
Like
smart because by the time like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rolls around, you're ready for more.
oh, that's exactly what happened. We literally like we didn't have to wait for people to gather at the table. There was no grace. There was no big long speech. It was like, "Yo, food's done. All right, cool. We're gonna eat it." We went around the table as we were eating, talking about stuff that we're happy about this year, stuff that we're thankful for, and just kind of like get the kids to get them into more positive mindset, like de-stress them. De-stresses me too.
Yeah.
And then we were done, and it was like, all right, well, I'm super full. I'm gonna go down to the office. I will see you guys. Like she went up to the bedroom to watch Grey's Anatomy. I went down to the office. The kids like went to their rooms or in the living room, and everybody kind of like did their own thing for 2 hours. Then we reconvened in the kitchen, ate apple crisp homemade and some homemade pumpkin pie, and then we separated again. And then we come back like at 9 o'clock at night, like, I'm hungry. I want
Well,
to eat.
that it's nice that way because you have like that family time when you're all eating and hanging out in the kitchen and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But then you also have, your own time to just do whatever you want. It's a holiday. It's time to use to relax. And
Right.
if you're forcing yourself to hang around your family at all time, or you're forcing yourself to tolerate this one person or whatever it happens to be, then you're not really relaxed, are you?
Yeah, that was something that stressed me out a bit. Like the few times that I gave in to the stupid itch and I opened up Twitter and I was like, "Oh, so you're unhappy that you're around family and you are also unhappy that you're around family." As you scroll, it's like, "Oh, my racist uncle. Oh, my unsupportive parents." I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay, okay. How old are you?" "Oh, I'm like closer to 40 than I am to 30." All right. You don't need to be there.
Yeah.
You can not be there. You can make that choice. I bestow upon you, the power of being an adult and deciding that you want to not
Yeah,
just fucking be there.
There's a saying that kind of relates to all this that really irks me quite a bit when I hear it. And it's, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. I'm sure everybody's heard that saying before. It's complete bullshit.
Agreed.
You absolutely can choose your family. You're my family. Hunter's my family. There are members of my quote unquote actual family, my blood relatives. I haven't talked to them in years, and I have no intention to ever again.
Yeah, likewise. I feel like I sound like such a scum kind of like
Well,
in that.
in the tone that I just used,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
absolutely sounds scummy. But they're scummy people, so I don't want to associate with them.
See, this is
So
why you and me gel so well. This is
yeah,
what one of the key reasons we gel so well. We get each other. I
yeah,
think this is a good way talking about scumminess. Maybe it's not a good way. There is no good segue into the topic today.
yeah. It's
The topic today, it's like, you would think that we're going to talk about like, oh, we're going to talk about sexism or we're going to talk about some like really crazy shit. No, we're just going to talk about God, how do I put it? I have a theory. I guess you could officially call the episode expectations versus potential. But
I can't do that because I used the word expectations in the title of the last episode.
oh damn it. Okay, well how about this? How about this for clickbaity title? Clickbaity title. Ready? Toxic culture. Are we becoming tainted as games consumers?
And then at the very end, in all caps, I'll put, "You won't believe what happens next."
The government EA hates him. Find out his secret. All right. Anyway, but yeah, that's the basis of the discussion today. We are currently recording this, by the way, on November the 28th, which is a Wednesday, 28th day of the 11th month, and I mentioned that specifically because if we would have recorded this on Monday, there would have been information pertinent to the discussion that was not available at the time.
Yes.
All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. First off, I know that Fox and I have had this conversation off camera, off the record, so to speak, regarding Fallout 76 and other games, because I know right now, like every brother and mother on YouTube right now is making that fat YouTube cash by just beating the piñata that is. The title will always be Fallout 76, what a disappointment. Bethesda being sued for something with Fallout 70. It's always something negative.
A title that I've seen at least like 4 or 5 times now is "Everything Wrong with Fallout 76."
Right. What could Fallout 76 have been? Everything wrong with it. It's a buggy mess. It's a disgrace.
Misstep.
Yeah, Bethesda's missed it. It's really anyway. So, in order to make this argument coherent, in order to make it something that you guys listening, you guys and gals and non-binary pals, listening on whatever it is you're listening on, can kind of make sense of all of our ramblings, and we try to like maintain a steady course, and we don't go on the tangents that Fox and I typically go on a lot.
You should hear the off-camera tangents sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot of bleed through. Like there's a whole lot of bleed through with this subject in particular, because it can go really. I mean, like I can get really tinfoil hatty about the whole thing, but I'm gonna try really hard not to. We are going to discuss my theory as well as an idea that I had in my head about, like I said before, expectation versus potential. And we both have examples that we can give. Full disclosure, I am somewhat biased. I like Fallout. I really like Fallout. I'm a fan of the franchise. I've been playing it since I was a kid, since Fallout 1 and 2 and Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel, all that stuff, right? And
Yeah,
we
and
both
I
own
guess
it.
kind of on my side of it, I have no doubt I'm going to be presenting a lot of positives about Fallout 76 in this discussion, but I want to preface that with saying Fallout 76 and just a multiplayer Fallout in general is not something I ever wanted from the franchise. It was not something I was interested in the least when it was announced. It's not something I ever believed when it was rumored. And even like the day before launch, I had zero interest in it whatsoever. It was never, quote unquote, my Fallout.
Right.
But I'm going to say some good things about it
I
today.
I actually recall it was our Sunday game when E3 was happening, and before
Yes.
we started our Sunday Dungeons and Dragons game, MBS, our dungeon master and the showrunner for Dungeons and Distractions channel on Twitch, decided we were gonna have like an E3 party where all of us were on the Zoom conference video call, but we were watching the live stream, Bethesda's live stream, when they did the announcement, and then we immediately had conversations. And yeah, Fox's immediate reaction, his hot take was, "Fuck this, fuck that, I hate it all. You guys this is terrible. This is not my Fallout.
Yep.
I want to recount." Like it was very
Like,
unhappy.
with most things that kind of fall into that same category for me, it's like my reaction is, okay, this could be good, but don't put it under the brand name that I love. What the hell are you doing? Don't sully my goodness with that scum.
It's true though. That's a legitimate feeling a lot of people have.
It is, and I've put over 100 hours into Fallout 76 so far, so take that as you will.
I wouldn't say I've done that many. I want to say I'm thinking, because I partition myself. I can sit down and play pretty much any game nowadays and drop in, drop out. I'm a good half hour, maybe 45 minutes, right? Fallout 76, unfortunately, just like World of Warcraft, just like any time invested game, is one of those you're going to sit down, don't expect to do anything for like the day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect to do anything for at least the next like 3 or 4 hours. Period.
Yeah. I was in a bit of a unique position, thankfully, and I often am with the big multiplayer games that launch. In that Hunter and I do really big launch events for these, so we play them for 12 plus hours a day every day for like 3 to 7 days. So that's kind of how I got into Fallout 76, despite not really wanting anything to do with it when it was announced. And my opinion was changed significantly once I actually got into the game and started playing.
Word. Side note, he needs to stop streaming so damn much. Like I know,
Yeah.
it's we're talking to a brick wall and expecting it to grow fruit, but like really, that it's really unhealthy. Anywho, moving on. For those of you that maybe have been living under a rock, or were unplugged, or maybe got trapped on the side of Mount Rainier or something, for the past month. No,
That sounds like a good vacation.
like 3 weeks. Yeah. You fell into a coma 3 weeks ago. You woke up and now you expect you don't know what the hell to see on the internet.
The coma part doesn't sound like a good vacation.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a nice dream, like a staycation, but in your own head. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what happens when you're in a coma. I've never been comatose. Anyway. See, I told you it bleeds. We get on these stupid tangents all the time. Now we're going to be arguing about existentialism and if you're conscious or not.
I had comments, but I held them back.
Thank you. You're a gentle giant. Again, for those of you that don't know, Fallout 76 launched to critical, not so much acclaim. It has been basically the internet's punching bag and the target of a lot of vitriolic content, I would say. People are literally not weaponizing, but they're monetizing their anger and frustration of this title. Like, the more they can bash on it, the more popularity, the more income they can turn, the more notoriety they can receive. And it's the hip thing to do, and that is one thing that does anger me
Yeah,
profusely.
it's a very, very good example of rage reviews get views.
Right, right. It's like the drama. Everybody looks at the tabloid, so now everybody and their mother is like, man, I can stand out and make a quick buck by just telling everybody how shitty this game is. I haven't played it, but everybody says that it's shitty, so I'm gonna make a video talking about how shitty it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some outliers that I would say are we try not. We had the talk before I hit the record button. We try not to name names because honestly, why would you cultivate drama? But there are.
Unless it's somebody that needs to be, called out in order to like warn others about some sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's no real sense in doing call outs for other reasons.
Yeah, I'll flat out call out though. So, man, I could not stomach watching the entire thing, both Angry Joe's review of Fallout 76 and Jim Sterling's review of Fallout 76, because by the time that I got like 5 or 6 minutes into it, it didn't sound like a review. It was, for all intents and purposes, a child, and in Sterling's case, a very well-spoken, articulate child, just screaming in nonsensical anger at a thing that apparently really, really upset them. And it's very frustrating to me because that is no longer a review. That's no longer a review. That's just somebody being really, really ragey. And I get rage. I get that people are passionate. I get that people spend money. Full disclosure, I bought the special edition. I'm $200 in the hole, for this title. And I can tell you right now, is the whole thing worth $200 in its current state? I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm leaning towards not. But that's just, again, it's a personal opinion of mine. Do I think it'll be different down the road? Abso-fucking-lutely. And therein lies the premise of my idea, the expectations versus potential. You have a lot of games that will come out, and almost no game or movie, sometimes, almost any entertainment medium, piece of content that you consume. Lately now, it's like people, marketing heads really at publishers, they get hype, right? They want people to generate hype. They will gently massage the hype. They'll be real subtle about it and real coy about how they're going to hype you up for this thing. And then when it comes out, the expectations are so high it does not meet expectations. And this is not a case of you can't please everybody. No. This is like the majority of the individuals, 51%, right, of people don't like it, didn't meet their expectation.
And
well,
the perfect example of that, and I think you were building up to this, was No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
That was a game that an insane number of people just straight up made up things about the game that they expected or wanted in it, but was never actually announced or associated with the game in any way, and then just flipped their shit when it launched, and it didn't have these completely made up things in it. And it's happened, with No Man's Sky. It's happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. It's happened with Fallout 76, and it keeps happening over and over and over. And the same reactions are happening over and over and over, and nobody seems to learn from it.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned in my chat today as I was streaming, somebody mentioned, man, we've seen this all before. I get baited into talking about things that I'm supposed to be talking about on the podcast, so we might as well just do this damn thing live one of these days. But it's that leads into my theory. My theory being, as best as I can word it and articulate it, is I feel like us as consumers in the games industry, I'm trying to get away from, Fox and I talked about this, I'm trying to get away from using the language of gamer. Not because of, Gamergate, not because of negative connotations, but because I need to better define what I am. I'm a 35-year-old man. I grew up with video games. Most of us playing right now, video games that is, are in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, that kind of thing. We are people that are consumers. We are spending money to consume content, and we consume it voraciously, for one. So anyway, back onto the main point. I believe that us as consumers and investors, shareholders, and so forth that have a stake in games development or publishing or in this space are we are creating our own bubble. We are creating this very cyclical, obviously toxic and otherwise I would even say cancerous, because it is one of these things that is just spreading and all consuming situation in gaming. Everybody wants, I want a bigger, better game, and I want it faster. And the investors that go to the, these investment calls, these the earnings calls with Activision and EA are like, this wasn't performing. I want it bigger. I want it better. I want it faster. I need to make the game bigger, better, faster. Got to monetize it more. And developers are trying to one up each other. We are trying to one up on our hype. So it's this culture of one upping the next thing, where you can't have like a really good game. You can have a really good game, and the next one that comes out, it's got to innovate a bit. And if it doesn't innovate a bit and is bigger and better, it's not as good. And eventually that will lead to what I think is going to be a crash. The scenario I posited earlier was, man, what's going to happen when one of these big ass AAA devs like Activision or EA, probably EA, they break the record. They announce we are spending $1 billion on this game, on this new IP. Mm-hmm. And then the new IP bombs or gets review bombed by a bunch of angry, shitty people on the internet. And then you have this fallout. And like, what's the fallout? Well, the developers that were hired on, the temps that were hired on, the different studios that were brought in on the project to help work on it, they get fired, they get dissolved, they get, reincorporated or restructured into some other thing. And yeah, there's a real life consequence to this sort of thing, but then there's also, well, nobody in their right mind, no investor is going to kickstart. Nobody's going to make something on that scale. No one's going to want to do that scale, right?
We came dangerously close to that actually already happening when it comes to, dumping a bunch of money into a new IP type of thing. We came so incredibly close to that happening with Anthem, a game that isn't even out yet. But, it's the BioWare team, a lot of people that worked on the Mass Effect series were moved over to, make the Anthem team. They started development and production on that. And as soon as they started releasing details about it, all I heard was people shitting on it. There was maybe like a handful of people that were excited for it. But this was a game that wasn't even out yet, and people were making hate reviews for it. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if that had continued, thankfully it died off a little, but if that had continued, I think it would have led exactly into what you were theorizing about. A developer or a producer just not wanting to take that chance anymore, because look what happens before the product is even available to the public. Right. It gets shit on so heavily, so much that the general public doesn't even get to see what the product is all about, because all they see is these people hating on it.
Right. And then I'll be honest, when I have a bias towards BioWare, but we can get into that later. Hey, what happens when Anthem comes out next year? What if it doesn't do well? If Anthem doesn't do well, what's going to become of BioWare? Is BioWare going to be the next Westwood Studios? Is BioWare going to be, is there ever going to be another Mass Effect game or another Dragon Age game? Because, how much is tied up into the success? And it's got to be a resounding success. It's not good enough to push 6 million units. It's got to push 60 million units, or else the investors are mad. It's I'm
going to do something right now that I never, ever do.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to make a prediction. I don't like to make predictions.
Holy shit. Gasp.
I like to say, this is a possibility, but the other option is this. There's multiple ways I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to say when Anthem comes out to the public, it is going to fall flat on its face when it comes to the public's expectations of it. I think it's going to meet the expectations of the producers and the developers, but it's going to fail the public's expectations. And the reason I'm making that prediction is because of evidence that is there when we look at previous titles, No Man's Sky, Mass Effect Andromeda, Fallout 76, because the public has all these unrealistic expectations of these games that's just entirely unattainable. And those expectations, we can already see them for Anthem.
I kind of
There's
agree.
no way the game can match those. I think it's going to hit the mark for the producers and the developers, but I think it's going to be a big swing and a miss for the public, because no matter what's presented, it's going to be a swing and a miss for those unrealistic expectations.
I kind of agree with you. Is it not? I didn't even expect to talk about Anthem today, but it's interesting. People have asked me, "Hey, Spoon, man, Rick, are you excited for Anthem?" Like, no. What? What do you mean? It looks beautiful. Yes. Everything that I have been shown ever in the history of time by EA or BioWare looks freaking incredible until I get my hands on it. And then it's not. I hope this is different, because I know that people are working really, really hard, but like, I'm not going to let myself get hyped for it. I will buy it after the fact if there are people playing it and there's a community around it and it seems worth playing, and I don't already have anything else that scratches that itch, then sure, I'll get into it, like the looter shooter thing or the world exploration thing, right? If I don't have, if my itch is being scratched, then I'm good, you know?
Yeah,
But that's just
I already
me.
know for a fact that I'm gonna have a lot of fun with Anthem, whether I play it by myself or I play it with other people. I know I'm gonna have fun because I don't have any expectations for it. I don't have high or low expectations. I don't really, consume every bit of information that comes out about it.
Right.
I've seen the trailers. I saw the convention presentations. Looks like it's going to be a fun and pretty game. So for me, it's going to be a fun and pretty game.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, you have much more willpower than me. I choose not to watch the trailers because I know I'll get, like, I've watched them, but I won't read articles on it. I won't look at people tweeting about it constantly, because they always are every time. Oh, we invited like 6 or 7 press people to come look at this really highly curated thing because it's still like 8 months out or 9 months out or more. We want to keep hype going. And so I'm a victim of hype. I'm very vulnerable to that.
I used to be, but it's not that I have willpower. It's quite literally, it's because I'm a manager. I have made a career out of being neutral.
Fair point.
So it's something that helps me when I look at information about these games and how reviews are presented and everything. I don't go in, with the predisposition of, okay, this game is great, so if I hear somebody say something bad about it, I'm going to be really angry. Like, no, I have fun with the game, but that's not telling it all about the game. So I'm going to go into this with that unbiased opinion, or as unbiased as I can be. I don't think there's actually anything. I don't think there's actually a possibility of being unbiased completely.
Yeah, no, it's impossible.
I do my best, and that helps, I think, a lot when I look at these things.
Right on. And then, so again, this is you and I. We're kind of discussing around the key element. The key element is we keep saying the word. It's expectations. Mm-hmm. For me personally, and you can share your side of it. An example of a game that failed potential versus games that failed expectation. A game that failed potential, right? For me, I didn't stop playing Mass Effect Andromeda. I didn't start disliking it. Or same thing for Dragon Age Inquisition, which is almost like it's a famous running joke in my chat and in my community. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make you play. It's like it's literally a donation goal for December when I launched that menu in December. If anybody like donates to help pay for my kids' Christmas fund, you can get me to play or promise to play on stream the entirety of Dragon Age Inquisition and all the DLC, and that is gonna be like a torturous event for me. Guild Wars 2 is another one that failed potential for me, which is why I stopped playing it. These are games that, when a game comes out, you have your initial hot take, right? Like, what was my expectation? Fallout 76 had a major falling out with the expectation. No Man's Sky had a major falling out with the expectation. For Honor, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege. These are games that had a falling out of expectation. That doesn't kill it for me half the time.
Mm-hmm.
The potential, I look at a game's potential, like, is this game going to be supported? Can they change? Not just the technical issues like server disconnects or bugs or glitches or graphical errors or whatever the hells, or any kind of like game breaking state, bugged out quests, whatever. That can all be fixed, hopefully, right? The question is, will it be fixed? How long will it take? What are the odds that this thing will actually meet its potential? When I look at Mass Effect Andromeda, ultimately, it was not a bad game. It should not have received the immense amount of hate that it received. But by the time that I got to like the end game of it, I was just kind of tired of it. And that was just me. That's me, you know, a personal thing when it came to the writing and the characters. Like, it seems almost like it was destined to fail in that regard for me as a Mass Effect fan, because I had grown attached over such a long period of time. Like, I didn't play Mass Effect 1 until after Mass Effect 2 came out, you know? It's like I'd got attached to these characters, so I was used to, like, characters that had, you know, they were more established. Then you give us all brand new ones, and I had that false, like you said, the false expectation in my head, like, oh, these guys are going to be likable right away, and I'm going to get in on them, and just, when it didn't click, it just didn't click. Same thing, like Inquisition, I stopped after beating it and playing through all the main content, because it was just like, man, it felt like a really great MMO that I played by myself. You know, there was a lot of like fetch questy fluff kind of stuff. You know, when you're spending 18 hours in the starter zone of the damn hinterlands, never leaving because there's so much to do and you're a completionist.
So when it comes to like my side of that with Mass Effect Andromeda specifically, I too am a huge Mass Effect fan. I think I played the first one at least like 24 times before the second one came out. Then I played both of them back to back like another 24 times before the third one came out. And it's a series that I play through completely at least twice every year. You know, I have a bunch of Mass Effect merch. I've got a 10-inch tally figure on my shelf over there. I love the series to death. And Andromeda met my expectations. I don't think it met its potential, but I think that only because it didn't meet other people's expectations.
I agree. Like, to this day, you can't see a tweet from the Mass Effect team without having somebody comment, "Where's my Quarian DLC?" Yeah. And it's like that you can stop now. You can stop saying that.
Your Quarian DLC isn't coming because you shit on the game so much that they canceled the project.
Yeah.
It's not coming because you didn't want it, even though you keep asking for it. There was absolutely a lot of problems with the game. There was, you know, model issues, texture issues, gameplay issues. Those things were absolutely there, and they absolutely needed to be fixed, and it absolutely should not have launched with those issues. That being said, I still very much enjoyed the game. I put many hours into it, and it is on my series playthrough list every time I play through the Mass Effect series now. You know, I go 1, 2, 3 Andromeda.
Right.
And before that game launched, despite consuming a lot of content about it and being such a huge fan, I had zero expectations. Because I didn't actually know what the game was going to really be about.
Right.
And I waited until it launched, and then I consumed all the official information from BioWare that they released once the game was public.
Right.
And I had a better idea of what it was going to be, what it was meant to be. It was never meant to be another Shepard story. It was never meant to be another trilogy. It was the foundation for which the next trilogy was going to be built off of. Well, go on. A lot of people really missed that when it came to that game. They didn't know that was the case. They thought it was going to be the next Shepard story, the next trilogy, even though it was never meant to be that. And so when it didn't reach those expectations, when they didn't get the in-depth life that the Milky Way galaxy had,
Mm,
and they were instead presented with the wasteland of the Andromeda galaxy. They were like, "What the hell is this? This isn't Mass Effect."
right.
And so they got angry,
Yeah.
and they got publicly angry, and that coupled with the bugs that the game genuinely had, it just the project flopped, unfortunately.
Yeah, for me it was a great many things, but where the expectation fell was I remember when it was first when they first came up, and this is why for anybody this is why developers don't tell you shit about the games they are making, because when they do, they can't, like, they fail at the number one rule of parenting. And this is the number the if for those other fellow dads and moms out there, the number one goddamn rule of parenting is you set expectations. If you don't set expectations, you know what's going to happen. Your kids are going to freak the fuck out. They're going to feel unsafe and insecure. And by insecure, I mean they're not going to feel like what you said is going to happen. And that just leads to a lot of other problems and a lot of feeling of fear and then lashing out. When the BioWare guys came up on stage and they were like, we're going to have all these planets and it's going to be a whole galaxy to explore, and they were evoking a lot of the hype. Okay, we got to go back, time travel. This came out the same year that No Man's Sky came out.
Mm-hmm.
So there was the big flavor of the year, the flavor of, I think, 2015, 2016 was we want this procedurally generated massive, see that planet, you can go there. See that mountain, you can go there. That kind of thing.
Unique space and planetary exploration.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was a one up again. The one upping of Skyrim, right? Dragon Age Inquisition and the way that game was laid out was essentially when they canceled, the other DLC or the next installment of Dragon Age 2, and they decided to scrap all that and make Dragon Age Inquisition. They were like, whoa, this Skyrim thing, people are going nuts. So Dragon Age Inquisition, big fucking open world, right? And it was, again, it's a similar vein. So you kind of notice these trends. You have to cut away all the emotional static and go back to the facts and go back to where that time was to learn these historical lessons when it comes to gaming. That was Mass Effect Andromeda. That was DA Inquisition. They had their falling outs and whatnot. But then I look at games that meet their potential, right? I call them like success stories. You have the double the double win, the win-win, like stuff like Spider-Man, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2. These are games that were hyped up like crazy when they launched. They were incredible. They looked great. They're beautiful and they're wonderful games. Like contenders, game of the year, great games, right? Red Dead Redemption 2 is going strong right now.
Although there is a select few that like to shit on God of War for for whitewashing.
Oh God, yeah. I'm sorry. We're not even going there.
No,
we're not going there.
We're not. But I'm sure you could tell in the tone in my voice there when I said that just how ridiculous that is.
Yeah. Let's go to Norse mythology, and if I see a white person, I'm gonna be upset. Oh wait, Kratos, his skin is white. His skin is white because he's been cursed with the ashes of his dead family on his. No. It's very. Yeah. It's, you look at every other Greek and God. I said we're not going to go there, but I'm going to dip my toe in. Every other Greek, is olive skinned, right?
It's hard not to dip your toe in these presentations that are just so asinine.
Because it's the twisting of facts in order to fit a narrative.
Yeah, and if there's not something wrong with it, I'm going to make something wrong with it so I can complain.
Right. No, thank you. That's it. Anyway, moving on. I want to talk about. I would like to talk about like what I consider a success story. Take a look at No Man's Sky. We keep talking about it. I streamed it and played it and loved it. I still have my No Man's Sky shirt. I got my No Man's Sky painting. It's not a print. It's a painting that is on canvas, rolled up because I haven't gotten a frame for it yet. I'm ready to put on my wall. My wife got it for me for my birthday, the year that No Man's Sky came out. And I used to play it like crazy. And then I got to the point where the game kind of like, there was nothing left to do. And I was a little bit disenfranchised because I felt crap. It It didn't meet what it wanted to meet, and my mindset at the time, I didn't continue with it. Fast forward to today, where the game has had multiple updates, not even small ones, massive updates.
Massive free update.
Yeah, all free. That's a key point. You haven't had to pay yet, and I still feel that the game now is in a place visually, design-wise, mechanically, everything, to where it is exactly what was hyped up and what was promised. Even what was not promised and people kind of like projected onto it, it's there. And if you look at any of these big name streamers on Twitch that are sitting there streaming fucking No Man's Sky whenever it gets another update for like 12,000, 15,000 people, it's a good game. And it has a big thriving community and it has met its potential. The Division really wasn't doing too good. Then Ubisoft was like, crap. And they worked and they did the 1.8 update and all the following updates, and they say they've learned the lessons from Division 2. I played it. I love it. From somebody who bashed Division 1 when it came out to somebody who cannot wait to play Division 2 and who still regularly logs into Division 1 to play it, it met its potential. Rainbow Six Siege, another big success story. It met its potential. For Honor. I play For Honor now more than I play any other game besides Heroes of the Storm. And I play Heroes of the Storm so much because my wife plays it. Like, that's her game. And we play it together. But I played a shit ton of For Honor. And because of all the server disconnects and the peer-to-peer and all that crap, I got really angry and frustrated and I stopped playing it. And then they got dedicated servers. They did a bunch of balance updates. And now I play it constantly. And I have more fun now than I ever did before. Those are games with their potential.
I have some gripes about the current state of For Honor.
Like the Wu Lin, is that the imbalance of the new heroes?
No, I think those are fine. It's just the nerfing of my beloved Peacekeeper.
Oh, you know what?
Look, no.
Don't even parry. You know, don't even get at me with that.
Peacekeepers were shit on from day one of For Honor, and they have been nerfed into hell ever since. But you know, there's still a select few of us that play that class because we love it so much, and we still kick ass with it, despite doing no more damage than a needle prick.
Hey man, listen. From somebody who's a warlord main in an area where there's no ledging and there's nowhere that I can push somebody off an edge. Like, I know that feel.
You're a ledge pusher, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fucking hilarious to like run in. They're like, oh, they're 2v1ing somebody. Whoops, you're off a cliff. Ha ha. All right, bye. And then I leave. My salt train continues to chug along. Anyway. So,
yeah. On the note of For Honor, though, that's a game that I knew nothing about going in. Like, the stuff that I learned about the game was only the stuff that I had to learn about in order to put on the launch event that we did. But before I got like my hands on the game, literally, I didn't really look at any of the gameplay stuff. Most of the content that I consumed was cinematic stuff and lore stuff. And man, right from day one of the closed beta, I think I fell in love with that game so much. Despite all the issues that I had with it then and have with it now, it is still one of my favorite games ever. Yeah,
likewise. If it wasn't for that passion, that hook, I don't think I would have left it installed and kept fiddling with it.
And I think there's a really kind of important note in that I do have criticisms of the game. I do think it is doing things wrong right now, and it did things wrong in the past. But I try to present my criticisms in a constructive way, and that's something that we aren't really seeing much of in the games that we've been talking about, with No Man's Sky when it was launching, with Fallout 76, all the hate reviews that are out there right now.
Yeah,
there is a lot of genuinely, negative things that you can say about these games, but almost none of it is being presented in a constructive way. It's just people getting on stream or getting on YouTube or their blogs or whatever it is and yelling about how much they hate the game and how stupid Bethesda is and what have you. That doesn't help anybody. How is that ever going to help anybody? You are not presenting an argument. You are not presenting constructive opinions. You're just yelling. That does nothing for anyone.
I think that I was trying to find a way to sum it up in my head because it's such an interesting subject. If you really want to articulate it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, you can add on, you can detract from it, whatever you want to do with it. But I believe there are glaring, unavoidable critiques of Fallout 76 that have merit. But now I'm starting to see this. There's a lot of hyperbole, right? There's people being really hyperbolic. Like, I'm 13 years old. I just, I'm in middle school and I suddenly know what hyperbole is, which is basically just being really just exaggerant, like exaggerating to try to make a point. So you're saying the most over the top shit that you possibly can. Funny enough, my kids gave me a real life example of this. My kids were bickering. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic. I can tell you this story. My kids were bickering. They were bickering like siblings bicker. And it's gotten to the point where, like, if one of them says something and the other one gets offended by it, it's like this catastrophic fucking offense, right? If one of them, like, pokes the other one, the one that got poked is like a soccer player on the floor rolling around, screaming, grabbing her arm, like, oh, God, you stabbed me. I'm like, what happened to us as gaming consumers, whatever you want to call us? When did we become so fragile? When did it get to the point where you have like Bajira or Admiral, but you have people on Twitch when they see an enemy in a T-pose because they're bugged a little bit, freaking the fuck out and just spending 20 minutes with footage of this, like, oh, look, it's a bug. I'm going to show you this bug and I'm going to treat it like it is the biggest goddamn offense. People saying like Sterling and Angry Joe and other hate reviews that are essentially just being like, this is appalling, this is unacceptable. Like, but is it? Is it really appalling and unacceptable?
Kind of in that same context with the specific example of 76, there's a bug in the game, surprise, that has to do with power armor.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm going to bring that up
like
in a second.
The stretched torso thing, the power armor itself for other players is invisible even though you're wearing it, and you're just like naked and your limbs are all stretched out and weird looking. I've been seeing people use that specific bug as a reason to shit on the game and call it a piece of garbage, and it's like unplayable. Even I saw somebody reference that bug as making it unplayable. Like, how in any way does that affect the actual mechanics of the game and how you're playing the game and what you're doing in the game? When I see that on another player, I laugh my ass off. It's hilarious. It looks creepy. Have you seen somebody with that bug like slowly walk out of the water towards you? It's creepy as fuck. I love it.
Yeah, some of my favorite, like, my channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Fallout 4 as an example. And some of the best clips and favorite memories I have are running into like a bug where there's a body half stuck in the ground, or there's like a head slowly rolling for whatever the hell reason. It's hilarious. It brings, those are the kind of memories that endear these titles to our hearts. It's like, I just feel as if with all this, you have like, the hate reviews are essentially just a megaphone for an emotional response. It's people who are passionate, who are invested, and they're having an emotional reaction to the situation, so they're trying to exaggerate it. They're trying to use it as a reason to invalidate other people liking it, or to validate their dislike of it. And I get it. Yes, it sucks that there's a visual bug, and I'm not, by the way, just like a shill defending blindly and living in denial. I fucking hate with a furious black hatred passion the fact that in Fallout 76, if I am playing the game and making progress, it's not like every other game where like it kind of auto saves. I was doing great things. I had a wonderful like 45-minute time. Did a quest. I got these like rare plans. I was super hyped. I lost connection to the server and I was like, oh shit. Okay, damn it. I lost connection. I logged back in immediately. No muss, no fuss. I am back where I was like 45 minutes ago. And the RNG of the lucky drop that I got on this weapon plan was like lost to me for not forever, but it was a thing I thought I had that I didn't have anymore. And it got me mad. So that's something, right?
Yeah, and in that same vein, One of the things that I love about 76 and loved about 4, don't fucking at me, is the base building. I loved it so much,
Yeah, it was cool.
and I continue to love it. I spend hours and hours doing that stuff, and I did the exact same thing in 74, 74, 76. 74 will come out in a few years.
Yeah.
And I built this beautiful base that was like overlooking the big river on the west coast. And it was right by Deathclaw Island, and Deathclaws are like my favorite thing about the Fallout universe. So it was like the dream spot, the dream house for me. I was so happy with it. I logged out, logged in the next day, base was gone.
Oof.
Yeah, the entire base was gone. Like even the actual camp unit was back in my inventory. So I had to rebuild it. I had to rebuild the thing. So I did. I spent another few hours rebuilding this. And then I logged out, logged back in a few minutes later, base was gone.
Yeah.
And it happened again. So I had to rebuild that base 4 times. Was I mad? Yeah, I was mad. Should that have happened? No fucking way it should have happened. Is it game breaking for me? No.
Right.
Not at all. Not even remotely.
Yeah, it's an annoyance.
It baffles me how people can present arguments of like visual bugs and stuff as game breaking. How they can use those as a reason to get so angry about these games. Not just 76, but any game ever that has similar issues and similar reactions. Like how is this stuff game breaking for you?
Right.
Like these bugs have been in games since games were a thing. Fucking Pong had bugs.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I'll do the nitpick thing, and then we're getting close to time. But I think there's a couple more points that are worth going into. And then, honestly, I don't think we're going to end this podcast with a resolution to the discussion. This is an ongoing discussion.
It is an ongoing thing,
you know?
And you do your thing.
Well, no, I mean, a perfect example. People nowadays, and you'll see this again, commentary right out of my chat. It's like there's a certain tribalism, there's a certain zero-sum game that's being played right now between a lot of people, both politically, culturally, gaming, economically, you name it. This has become like the new thing in the 21st century is people are all or nothing, right? It's either going to be a shit game.
If it's not perfect, it's trash.
Exactly. If it's not game of the year, it's complete garbage. Waste of money, right? Regardless of what the real life consequences are of seeing things that way and not allowing for the intricacies and complications that are inherent to the human condition, right? Or to game development in general, or anything really for that matter. You have these kind of situations pop up where people say, oh, this is unacceptable, that's unacceptable. And they look at a game or they look at any kind of content. Let's just use a game. Let's use Fallout 76. It is an online persistent world. It's a living thing that is supposed to be, by nature of design, constantly updated and iterated upon. And it's being treated as if this is it. And this is a state that it's in, and because it doesn't have these features, it doesn't have this thing, or has these bugs, or whatever it is, then it's a failure, it's a flop, it's an insult, it's all these different stupid personal things that have no business. Some of the critiques are merited. If you tell me it's unacceptable for a PC game to not have push to talk, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? That I'll agree with you. Holy fuck, Bethesda, dude, that was one big crack for it to fall through in QA. Who didn't think to put push to talk in voice chat on the PC version of the game? But, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. December 11th, 2018, yep. PC editions, push to talk setting for voice chat, 21:9 resolution support, and a field of view setting are all being implemented on PC with this update on December the 11th.
All things that were very commonly asked for, and that shows that the developers and producers are very much listening to the constructive feedback.
Yeah, of course. Again, this is the thing. People are like, I'm not gonna buy this game. I want a refund. This is crap because it doesn't have push to talk. If the game came out like 2 weeks ago, if you would have waited another 10 days, it would have come out. It's the principle of the thing. God damn it, I wanted a release. Okay, well, fuck, man. I'm so sorry that your feelings got hurt. If this is the hill you want to die on, go right ahead. Literally, if this is where you want to make your stand, then, fuck, okay, man, just you'll be forgotten in a day. For lack of a nicer way to put it. People are complaining, I can't respec in the game. Damn it, what am I going to do? December 11th, special respec after level 50. Well, shit, my camp is going to be broken if I log in like what happened to Fox, what happened to me. Camp placement on login. Your camp will no longer be automatically blueprinted and stored if someone is occupying your location when you log into a server. Instead, you get a notification that your space is occupied. If you decide to find the new home for your camp on that server, it'll be free to do so. If you don't attempt to place down your camp, you'll be able to switch to a new server where that spot is vacant and your camp will be fully assembled and waiting for you. Bulldozer. New camp feature. Allow you to remove small trees, rocks, and other obstructions. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm so happy about that.
There's so much shit that's being added. Stuck in power armor. We addressed this issue in the patch coming out on the 4th. Stash limit increase coming out on the 4th. Respawning when over encumbered. All these different issues that people have. These bugs. These like, my God, I can't take. I'm so angry.
Yeah, and you notice all of these things that are being presented in these patch notes, all of these ones that are actually genuinely being worked on and fixed, are the most common issues that broadcasters and VOD people, video on demand,
YouTubers,
producers. I'm trying to move away from just saying YouTubers, but yeah, YouTubers. These are all issues that are being presented in a constructive way. It's people that are playing the game saying, I'm having fun or I'm not having fun. Here's why. Here are the issues that I'd like to see fixed. And they continue playing the game. They're not the people that play the game for an hour, then make a 3-hour long hate review on it.
Yeah.
Those people are not having their problems addressed because they aren't presenting any problems. They're just yelling about nothing. Whereas the people who are genuinely presenting issues with the game, those are the ones that are getting fixed, that are getting patched, dealt with, whatever.
Right.
The evidence of producing a valid argument are right there, and yet people are still just going the rage route.
Well, of course, and this boils down to just what I say. It's an emotional response. It's this is the hill you want to die on, and it doesn't. I'm not angry about it. I'm kind of disappointed about it. I'm sad about it, for lack of a better word to use, because we're kind of building this kind of like culture around gaming in general of, God for fucking bid, I don't get what I want. I'm going to review bomb your game. I'm going to just rage about it. We're going to tank your work. And people don't think anymore about, they're living in a fantasy world. They're living in this make-believe world where, I've never developed a game in my life, but clearly this is a fix that should be fast. I'm like, well, what if it's not? What if it's a problem? Have you ever tried doing any kind of coding in any way, shape, or form? Even something as simple as like a website. It's, you fuck up one thing or you fix one thing and then something else completely unrelated breaks. It's like untangling Christmas lights. It's hard.
So, I'm going to, I think, present a different view on what you just kind of mentioned. You've talked a couple times through this episode about it being an emotional response from people. I'm gonna say it's not. I'm gonna say it's almost a trained response, and I'm gonna put the onus on content creators for this, because a lot of content creators out there, specifically on platforms like YouTube, you don't see this too much on live streaming platforms just because of the nature of it. Nobody's gonna watch you if you're just yelling all day. So I'm gonna put the onus on people that do things like YouTube. They make these reviews, rage reviews, I've been calling them, because it gets views from people, and views means money,
Right.
and money means living. So I can't fault them for pursuing the money, but they're not really acknowledging the consequences of what they're doing. By producing these rage reviews, you're training your viewers to react in the exact same way as what you're presenting to them. And that training results in what we're seeing now. People that are taking that stance, that opinion of, if it's not perfect, I hate everything about it and I hate you for making it, type of thing. We're seeing that grow more and more and more as these rage reviews become more and more popular.
Right.
So that's where I think the heart of the issue lies. It's not acknowledging the consequences of the content that you're producing.
Right.
And that brings us to places like where we're at now.
No, that's a really good point. I think the final thing that I'll add before we kind of wrap up is it does not make you a cool or interesting person to bash on a thing everybody's bashing on. I don't know what nicer way to put it. I'm getting kind of a little bit I'm sinning one of my primary I'm breaking one of my primary rules. I don't let most things get to me for the most part. I'm salty enough a person as is on my own. I don't need to have other people kind of like pushing my buttons. So it's very hard for people to push my buttons. But if I hear another smartass comment about what a shit game 76 is whenever it comes up in conversation, and the fact that I'll say, hey man, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, but the game sucks. I'm gonna compare it to Red Dead. I'm gonna compare it to this. I'm gonna compare, like, why? Why? Like, what I eat's not gonna make you shit. Why? Why do you have to tell me how shit, my choice is? Fuck you. Like, I don't know. Sorry. It sounds, I'm being really, really like nasty about it. And I'm being kind of vulgar, but really it frustrates me.
Well, it's hard not to be that way when the argument that you're presented with is that way.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, like, what does, every time that you're going to bash on something that somebody is enjoying, you are the fun police. You're that one asshole at the party that nobody wants there. You are the cynic and the cynic and the person that brings everybody down. It's like, just keep your mouth shut. The internet gives you a place to put your opinion. Sure. But you should know when and when not, when to keep it to your damn self. I don't know how else to put it. It's this thing where I feel comment sections were a fucking mistake online because everybody thinks that their tiny little fecal nugget is this beautiful, polished, amazing. I'm gonna put on this pedal. Look, I hit the like button. Look how fucking much value my opinion has. I must share it with the world. No, really, you're contributing nothing. Your opinion doesn't have value to everyone. I mean, yes, you are an important, valid person, and I have respect. But if all you're gonna do is just shit on or be negative on, just for the sake of being negative, just to be like, haha, look at me, I'm telling you that your thing that is mediocre is garbage. I'm enjoying this good shit here. What do you want to change my mind?
Yeah, it's on you to create the value within your opinion, and you're not gonna do that by just echoing nonsensical rage. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
And we've been defending 76 a lot in this episode. 76 it's not really about that game specifically. The argument is just the most open example. Yeah, they can be applied to literally any game, any movie, any whatever. And I want to kind of reiterate, since we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the episode, that we aren't presenting these opinions and these arguments because we love 76 to death. Or there's absolutely issues with the game. We both acknowledge that there's absolutely issues with the game. That's not what it's really about. there's so much anger and misinformation out there that we're just trying to balance that argument with what we're presenting here. There are reasons to not play 76, to not play No Man's Sky or Andromeda or whatever game we've discussed. Absolutely. But if you're going to speak publicly about it, it's on you to present those reasons not to play or support or consume whatever the product is.
Yeah, and you have to be prepared, I think, to not defend your reasons, but if somebody's got a differing opinion, be like, I hate it because the servers are crap. Or they just push a server update so the servers aren't crap anymore. Yeah, but they were crap, so I'm mad about it still. That kind of stuff.
And in that argument, it's on you to actually, you need to explain why you feel this way. If you feel like it's shit, okay, you can absolutely feel like it's shit, but don't just tell me it's shit. Explain to me why you feel like it's shit. What factors or what issues are going into this opinion of yours? Because it's once you start presenting that side of the opinion is when we can start to rectify it.
Yeah, well, we can start to even have a conversation, man.
Yeah, we can take the problems that you're seeing and we can say, okay, well, how do we make this better? How do we fix this? Or how do we present these problems to the people that can fix this? Mm-hmm. Don't just yell about it. Tell us why you're yelling about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to say on the subject for what it's worth. I think that about does it for this episode of the podcast. We did kind of go at it, but no, one last word is echoing what Fox is saying about anybody who's stuck around this long will think, man, these guys really love this game. They've been defending it. They're doing the same denial crazy, putting their fingers in their ears and going, ah, la, 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 the game is perfect. No. Everybody that has come to my chat that has said, hey, man, I haven't gotten it yet. Are you enjoying it? I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I would wait on getting it. Mm-hmm. I would wait, look, it's kind of rough right now. Give it a minute. Let them finish doing content. Let them get the development time that clearly either they just didn't have the QA volume to root out these problems, or otherwise just didn't have the development time to preemptively take care of it. Give it some time. Give it till like January, maybe end of December, like Christmas. Yep. Christmas might be a good time,
Yeah, and if you're on the fence about it, but you still want to, get it and play it, just buy the base edition. Don't buy the Tricentennial edition or whatever. Don't go seeking out the collector's edition. Just get the cheapest option available to you and decide from there whether or not you want to invest more money into the game. It's exactly what I did, despite us putting on a massive launch event and doing all this big stuff for the game. I just bought the base edition. I'm happy with the price that I paid for the base edition. I would like to give them more money, but I'm going to wait until they solve some of these issues, which they are doing in the upcoming patches. And, when it gets to a point where I feel like it's worth more money, I'll buy some cosmetics or something with real money, whatever it happens to be. I was going to say DLC, but they are putting DLC out, but it's going to be free LC, so can't really pay for it.
I can't really bash on, again, and there are people that are saying like, oh, I'm not on the fence about it, I just don't want it. I'm like, okay, well, why don't you want it? Well, because of this reason. Okay, well, if they change that reason, will you want it then? No. All right, now you just want to be mad for the sake of being mad. Like, now you're just an angry boy.
Perfect example of that
mad
specific thing is when we were playing, I think it was day one of the launch event, somebody came into our chat. They're like, does this thing have 21:9 aspect ratio or whatever that big widescreen is?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, it doesn't. Like, oh, well, I'm not buying it then.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's fine. They're going to be putting it in the future. Oh, they are? Well, I might buy it if they put it in the future then.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And they are putting it in on December 11th. The patch comes out.
It's next week or the week after next.
Probably going to buy it once that aspect ratio is there. So it's perfectly fine to not get the game if it's something you're not interested in, or it has features or doesn't have features that you can't do without, whatever that happens to be. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just if you're shitting on the game, explain your reasons for it. I think
Right.
that's kind of my final word on it.
Well, right on.
Don't just yell. Explain why you're yelling.
And I think that's a great way to end it. Explain why you are a mad lad. Don't just be your typical asshole on the internet with no cork stopper to just crap on everything. That does it for this episode of Press Pause Podcast. I think it was our 9th one.
Yep, episode 9.
Or 9th one. At 10, we're gonna, I don't know, maybe we'll throw a party or something. I don't know.
I think we only went a few minutes over.
Exactly. Wow, miracles can happen. Anyways, Fox, who are you? Where can you be found on the internet? What are you up to? And what are we going to talk about next week?
Next, you mean 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Whatever our release schedule is. It's going to be an amazing episode. You aren't going to want to miss it. I'm not going to tell you what the topic is, though.
You won't believe it.
You won't believe what happens on the next episode.
Yeah, it may or may not have to do with mobile gaming in China.
And
we've been dancing around that subject for a while.
Teaser thumbnail for it. I'm gonna put a blurred out spot in the thumbnail and a big arrow pointing to it and a circle around it, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at HBFoxTV. Don't bother looking me up anywhere else because I'm actually not like a streamer or anything like that. I manage streamers. That's what I do. And if you want to get involved in the discussion here, or if you want to suggest topics to us, if you want to explain to us why you're yelling, you can feel free to do so on Twitter with the hashtag PressPausePodcast. We check that regularly, and we try to respond or at least acknowledge in some way every comment and reply that gets thrown our way. So that's me. That's the podcast. Who are you, Spoon? Where can we find you?
I'm constantly reinventing myself, so I have no idea who I am anymore. I don't know who I am today. But you can find me on @SpoonerSloth on Twitter, @SpoonerSloth on Instagram, on damn near everything but Facebook. I deleted my Facebook years ago. Also, twitch.tv/SpoonerSloth. I guess you could say I'm a full-time creative broadcaster now. I may play video games to kind of break up the monotony of painting miniatures, and
you're a full-time content creator.
Yeah, well, we'll go with that. And there are some very, very big plans in 2019 that I'm kind of excited about, that I'm still kind of working the details on, but I should be ready, funny enough, by December to start rolling it out. So that about does it for us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you are watching us on YouTube or you are watching us on my Twitch channel in the videos section. Otherwise, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next time.